Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. In this video we're going to be doing the full review of the Team Associated Rival MT10, giving it a rating in a bunch of different categories, talking about its durability, performance, build, value, all those good things, and telling you finally at the end what I think about this monster truck. So let's get into it. So the Rival MT10 actually is a rebrand of the Helion Avenge 10 MT that has been around for a couple years. Helion went under and Team Associated picked up this vehicle and released it as a Team Associated vehicle. Now the Helion Avenge 10 MT was a really good monster truck, actually sold by the Firelands Group to Hobbytown as their private label Helion, and the Firelands Group was actually Gil Losi Jr.'s company after he sold Losi to Horizon Hobby. So there's not exactly any information saying that he designed this vehicle, but if you look at it, there's definitely a lot more race-inspired type performance out of this vehicle. And I personally think Gil Losi Jr. had a hand definitely in the design of this vehicle. So a little bit funny that this Losi-ish vehicle is now actually sold as a Team Associated vehicle. I find that kind of hilarious. But anyways, yeah, so that's the background of this vehicle. It's been around for a couple of months, and yeah, let's get into the full review. So the first thing I want to talk about is the electronics, and we'll talk about that real quick. First off, the radio, the XP120, pretty basic radio. Got your normal adjustments, throttle, steering, dual rate, and trim. Takes 4 AA's here in the bottom, and then yeah, just your basic 2.4 gigahertz radio. Nice foam wheel, basic trigger. Nothing particularly awesome about this radio, nothing particularly bad. I have actually owned this radio on a couple other vehicles in the past, and overall, you know, pretty average radio overall. Pulling off the body, we can take a look at the rest of the electronics. So it's got a 540 size can motor. It's a Reedy, I think 3300 kV motor. The Reedy ST600BL brushless speed control, a 60 amp speed control. Pretty high performance servo here. I think it's around 14 kilograms centimeter in terms of torque, which translates to close to 200 ounce-inches of torque, and actually reasonably fast as well. And then your basic receiver. Yeah, so overall pretty good vehicle. The motor's a little bit undersized. Most monster trucks are running more like a 550 size can motor. This is a 36 millimeter wide, 52 millimeter long can. Most of them are closer to like a 60 millimeter long can, which gives you a little more torque. So overall, I think that the electronics are pretty average. The radio's average. The ESC is a little bit below average. I would have liked to see something closer to like 100 amp ESC like you would find in an Armra or Losi. Can also slightly undersized, but the servo is really good. So overall, I give the electronics a 3 out of 5. The Rival MT10 out of the box had a few little issues with it. Nothing hugely terrible, but the camber links and toe links were all kind of out of whack. There's way too much toe out. The camber is off, so definitely fix that out as soon as you pick one of these up. Make sure you know the tires are fairly straight up and down, and the toe is fairly straightforward. You know, not sort of bowed out a little bit. I also had to fix the sway bars. The sway bars were way too tight. They were just cranked down all the way. I would take your 2 millimeter hex wrench and just crank it, just loosen them by about a quarter turn, half turn, just to allow the suspension to move up and down. Otherwise, they basically kind of lock the suspension arms in place and don't get you that nice soft plush feeling from these shocks. Last thing is that the motor screws kind of were a shade loose, or they backed out on me after a few battery packs. So definitely double check those out of the box, and after your first pack or two, make sure those are nice and tightened. You don't want those wobbly. My motor is kind of like wiggling around a little bit. Nothing stripped or anything, but something you want to catch. And then the last thing is the wheel nuts. They were okay, not like super tight, not super loose, but that's something you'll want to definitely check out of the box. Make sure your wheel nuts are tight. So overall, I'm going to give the build actually a slightly below average score, 2 out of 5 stars. Just the sway bars were way too tight, and that motor plate was a little bit loose as well. This is probably one of the best designs I've ever seen in a monster truck. It's definitely inspired by the Stampede 4x4 from Traxxas. Very similar design. The front kind of pops off as one unit. The rear kind of pops off as one unit. But there's a lot of racing type adjustments in this truck. Now it's kind of funny that a monster truck has racing type adjustments, and this kind of goes back to what I think the design of this. I think it was inspired by Go Losi. If he did not, you know, have a heavy impact in the design overall. The sway bars are pretty cool to have on a monster truck. The shocks are fully adjustable with threaded shock collars. You got 3 fully sealed differentials, front, middle, and rear, so you can definitely tune your diffs as, you know, as tight or as loose as you want them. Also multiple shock locations on the shock towers and the arms as well. Adjustable camber links, adjustable toe links, so pretty much a fully adjustable vehicle. It's obviously not a race truck, you know, no one races monster trucks, but it has all the adjustments you would like to see in a RC vehicle in general. That's in stark contrast to something like an Armour Grant, which pretty much has no adjustments whatsoever. So nice to see in a monster truck that they've got a lot of things you can play with to get the truck to drive as, you know, however exactly that you want. So design is definitely a plus of this vehicle. Easily accessible diffs, just high quality machining overall, fully metal gears in the front, middle, and rear differentials. Probably some of the highest machining I've ever seen in diffs, especially in an RTR. So super nice design overall. Really the only thing I don't quite like is that the receiver box is not fully sealed. It's just kind of covered, but it does have kind of this nice little body clip design. You can pull that off. There's actually some interesting videos out there on YouTube where you have Gil Losi Jr. go through the design of this vehicle. So again, that goes back to my theory that I think he had a big hand in designing this monster truck. So overall design is really the high point of this vehicle. I'm getting a full 5 stars, 5 out of 5. Performance means several different things. Obviously, how fast this truck goes is a big part of that. Quite a fast vehicle overall. I was a little bit concerned with this 540 size cam motor that it might not have enough torque, might not have enough power to move this thing, but definitely runs fine overall on 2S or 3S. On 3S gets a little bit warm, about 155 degrees Fahrenheit, but definitely no issues there. You can definitely run it on 3S. On 2S, it's quite a bit slower, obviously, probably in the mid 30s. On 3S, close to the high 40s. But yeah, performance is pretty good overall. As well, the handling is really nice. The sway bars help a lot with preventing it from rolling over. The center of gravity is not like super high like it is in a Stampede. It's kind of a mid-center gravity, not like really low, not really high, but definitely makes it a little more nimble and not roll over quite as much. These tires are actually pretty good. Nice tread pattern, nice lugs that dig into the dirt. They're a little bit thin, and I find the foam's a little bit too soft, but you know, overall the tires are actually pretty good. So I do think this is designed a little more for 2S than 3S. It's kind of like they built a 2S truck and then they're like, okay, we got to put a 3S motor in this, so they slapped in a 3S capable motor, but then they found that they basically had to stiffen up the rear end. This thing wheelies like crazy on 3S, especially out of the box. So the way they counteracted that is they put in super stiff springs in the rear. So I think if you're running on this 2S, you probably want to soften the rear springs a little bit. They're just way too stiff. But on 3S, if you don't have that, it just squats like crazy in the rear and wheelies like a crazy little monster truck. So overall performance, I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. Really good. You know, not a whole lot to complain about. In terms of durability, the rival MT10 has been a pretty durable truck overall, but it does have one fatal flaw, which is the front arms out of the box. So for whatever reason, the stock front arms from Team Associated are really weak. I've broken front arms, and if you watch other YouTube channels, almost everybody has broken front arms on this thing. Now, fortunately, there's kind of a fix for that. You can just buy the Helion Avenge 10 MT front arms, and they fit their exact same mold, everything, and they, for whatever reason, they're just seem to be made out of better plastic. I haven't broken a front arm since I've put those on about a month ago, so out of the box, I would say I would give it 3 stars out of 5. It's pretty durable overall. You know, the body's durable, shock towers, everything's been really durable except for those front arms. But if you swap those arms out for the Helion version, I think you'll, you know, I would actually rate this more like a 4 stars out of 5. So it loses 1 star just because of the stock front arms, but overall, durability, I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 5. Team Associated is one of the easier brands to get parts for in this industry, of course. It's one of the bigger brands. Not quite as good as Horizon Hobby, which owns Arma and Losi, or Traxxas, but a little bit above average, I would say. Now, Team Associated, if you call them up, they're reasonably good. If you email them, they usually don't really respond, so I would call them up if you have any problems. But I'm going to give them 4 stars out of 5 because it is easier to get Team Associated parts than most other brands. And the last category is the value of the rival MT10. I think the value is excellent. It sells for $300 without a battery. I think it's about $30 more if you want a battery and like a basic charger. So $300 is an exceptional value for a 3S capable brushless vehicle with, you know, fully steel differentials, fully metal driveline except for the axles. The axles are still plastic, but I have had no issues with those things breaking, so those have proven to be very durable overall. So yeah, main competitors are obviously going to be things like the Stampede 4x4 VXL, the Arma Granite 4x4 3S BLX. And this is equal or lower than every other sort of similar vehicle out there, but I think it's actually got higher quality components than the Arma Granite 3S. So the Arma Granite, I gave a 5-star rating in terms of value. This also gets a 5-star rating. It is a really good deal. $300 for this level of quality and performance is awesome. So my final thoughts on the Team Associated rival MT10 is that it is an awesome little vehicle. It gets top marks in terms of value. $300 is an amazing deal for this level of quality in a vehicle. It gets top marks in terms of design. This probably has the best design of any monster truck I think out there on the market. Super easy to work on. Diffs are easily accessible, really high quality parts overall, adjustable turnbuckles, really nice steel turnbuckles, really good tires as well for the traction, radio's adequate, electronics are fine. So overall, just a amazing value. I think this is a really good monster truck. Main competitors are going to be the Arma Granite 4x4 3S BLX, and if I had to pick between the two, I would actually edge the Granite slightly higher in terms of durability, but in terms of the vehicle actual performance, design, tunability, this is actually better than the Arma Granite. So depends a little bit on what you're looking for, but awesome value, awesome vehicle. You really can do no wrong if you pick this thing up. And this is definitely a keeper for me. I'm gonna be owning, driving, and using this truck for years to come. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. If you have any comments, throw them down below, questions, etc. Throw them down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely hit the like button, the share button, subscribe, and look for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.